Hey, my name is Asyam, and in this video I want to tell you how I got job offers from Big 4 companies. I know that some of you are dreaming to work in one of the Big 4 companies in the world, but before giving up, I want to tell you, you should believe in yourself. You should not stop working. You should not stop believing in your success, because 100 times you fail and 1 time you succeed. I know that this is not easy to get into one of the top companies in the world, but before applying, you should be prepared for 100%. And in this video, I want to tell you how I got prepared for this. You know, there are several steps when you're applying for a job in Big 4 company. And the first step, this is a CV screening. You should make a CV that is very good and very strong. You should not add too many things. The CV should be only one page at the front page, and it should include your name, your birthday, your GPA, your university and your GPA. You should include your skills, whether you have Excel skills like VLOOKUP, some if, some pivot table. Also, you should include there your work experience, your volunteer, or maybe you had some experience at university. You should be able to include this in your CV, something that is needed in this job, in this position. So one of the strongest parts of my CV was my experience. During the interview, manager and partner asked me questions about my experience, about my previous work, and how my experience can be helpful at the Big 4 company. I think this is one of the reasons why I received job offers from Big 4 companies such as EY, KPMG, and Thornton, which is not a Big 4, which is Big 10 company. And the next step is test. You guys probably know this step because for some of you it might be difficult, for some of you it might be easy, but if you guys are not prepared for this kind of tests, by these tests I mean numerical and verbal tests, I mean IFRS audit, accounting entries test, you should prepare by yourself at home. If you don't have any resources in order to prepare for this, you should Google it, and just Google all the preparation tests and just solve them every single day. And after you are very, very strong in it, you can easily solve it, you can apply and do the test at the Big 4 company. At every Big 4 company, there's a different test. For example, at KPMG, I had numerical and verbal tests. But EY gave me not only numerical and verbal tests, they also gave me IFRS and audit tests. They were checking me whether I know accounting entries. You should know them by heart, really. Because if you don't know these accounting entries, even if you get this job, you will need this in your work. You will make some, corrections, and you should be able to understand the accounting as a whole. And if your major was not accounting, you should be able to read some books in accounting and understand whether some accounting entry should be suggested to the client. This accounting entry should be provided in your working paper and something like that. The next step is HR interview. This is one of the easiest parts of the whole process, and HR manager usually asks you about your plans for the next 5 years. You should say that I'm planning to stay in this company, I want to become a specialist, I want to pass ACCA exams, because if you plan to work as an auditor, you should pass ACCA exams. The HR manager usually asks you some questions about your CV, your education, your background, your GPA, your plans for the next 5 years. You should say that you are planning to stay in this company as long as possible, for at least 5 years. If you're planning to become an auditor, you should say that you want to pass ACCA exams because it's obligatory for you. And after this step, you'll proceed to the one of the last and one of the most important and difficult steps. It is an interview with a manager and partner of department that you applied for. You should be well prepared for this because they will ask you everything. This interview might be like for at least 1 hour or more. The first thing that they will ask you, this is your CV, like your background, your education, your major, why you decided to, for example, study finance or audit, why you are interested in it. They will ask you why you chose their company, why, for example, EY or why Deloitte or any other Big Four company. The hardest part will be the technical part. They will ask you, the manager or partner, usually the manager, will ask you whether you know accounting entries, debit and credit. For example, you are a company and you sold 50 books, what will be the accounting entry? And this is what they actually asked me, and I told them like debit accounts receivable, credit revenue, and debit cash, credit accounts receivable. They also asked me like easy accounting entries about inventory. For example, you buy a pen, this is inventory, and you should write accounting entry. They also asked me, I don't remember exactly, but I guess they asked me about IFRS standards. You guys must read book, I don't know, any source in the internet about IFRS standards, because if you want to become an auditor, you should be able to know the IFRS standards. And also I forgot to say that if you guys don't know accounting entries and you, for example, you get this job offer, that you will always work with this accounting entries, because for example, you go to the client and they have some mistake, I don't know, and you should provide like an accounting entry to them. And in this point, you should know which accounting entry you should like write or provide or suggest. That's why it's important. You know, in the interview, there are people sitting in front of you. Even if they're a manager or partner, they're still people. So they will not only ask you technical questions, they will ask you some personal, like not personal, like they will want to know you as a person more, whether you can work with them, whether your personality is suitable for them. So show only your good sides. Show that you want to stay in the company as long as possible. Show that you are very flexible. Show that you can have overtimes. You know, at Big Four companies, you usually stay after work for some more hours, and you should say that you are very well prepared for this. And they can also check for your math skills, whether you can multiply in your head, for example, 20% multiplied by 50 or 25% multiplied by 50. You should be able to solve it in your head. If you guys cannot do that, that's not a problem. You should just be honest with them. You should say, okay, I usually use calculators because at university in our finance major or accounting major, we always used calculators, so that's why I cannot solve this problem in my head. That's fine. That will not mean that you will not get this job offer. That will mean that you're very open and honest to them. And listen guys, this is very important. You should not be nervous. You should be calm. Don't be nervous. If you will be nervous, you will not get this job offer. If you will not be nervous, the chances that you will get this job offer will become higher. So these are the steps that you should take if you want to get this job. If you guys like this video, please put a like, leave a comment. Thank you for watching. Bye.